What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update, and we have new news coming out about the details of the next stimulus package or the second stimulus check that's coming out for Americans. We do have confirmation on the check. We're starting to get more details. We also have a new $400 per month proposal and unemployment extension news that has just come out within the last 24 hours. So I got tons of news for you guys today, and I'm going to get through it all here in just a few minutes. So first of all, we're seeing a lot of arguing and quarreling between the Republican senators, and it does seem like they've come to some agreements, but man, they can't even agree within their own party. Senator Rand Paul, a Republican from Kentucky, slammed Republican colleagues on Tuesday after leaving a stimulus bill negotiation session that was just between the Republicans, venting that he could have been in a meeting with the Bernie Bros, claiming there were no fiscal conservatives left in the Senate. He says there is no difference now between the Democratic and the Republican parties when it comes to spending. He says, the debt clock in my office, we've gone up $3 trillion in the last few months, and going up more is irresponsible. Rand Paul's comments came after Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said that they were starting with another $1 trillion for the next stimulus package. And Rand Paul said that he will do everything he can to slow down the process, noting that he'll propose an amendment that will be a 3-year pause in spending. He added that now they're voting for trillions of dollars that we don't have. We don't walk over to the Federal Reserve and get money we don't have. It's an abomination and it ought to stop. Man, some of these Senate Republicans just do not want to spend a single more dollar on the economy, on unemployment, on stimulus checks, on anything. And it's easy to say when they're, worth $10 million, $20 million, a lot of these Republican senators, and they're just completely out of touch. They haven't lost their job. They haven't lost their income. They're not struggling to pay for food. We still have around 18 million unemployed people right now, which is more than 3 times the people we had before the pandemic. So let me know your thoughts on this down below. Do you agree with Rand Paul? Do you think there should be no more money spent on Americans or on the economy? Or do you think that we need more stimulus? Do you think that this pandemic has proved that we should be getting more stimulus and even possibly more going forward towards the end of this year? Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin came out and said that there will not be a payroll tax cut in the next stimulus bill that we're getting more details on right now. He says it won't be in the base bill. And he says that a payroll tax cut could be part of a subsequent virus relief package in the future. As you may know, if you've seen my previous videos, President Donald Trump said that this was a non-negotiable for him, and that if there wasn't a payroll tax cut in the next stimulus bill, that he could veto it. And he works hand in hand with President Donald Trump very frequently, so maybe President Trump is changing his mind a little bit on this. There's been a lot of Democrats and Republicans that are against a payroll tax cut, which would basically give people who are working right now a 7.65% raise, a temporary raise. And the reason that would happen is they wouldn't be taking Social Security and Medicare out of your paychecks anymore, and you would basically get that money in your paycheck instead of having it taken out for Social Security and Medicare. The problem with it, and you guys have told me in the comments by the hundreds of comments, that it's not a good idea because it'll cause a $1 trillion more deficit to Social Security and Medicare, and Social Security is set to run out in a little bit over 10 years right now as it is. So in the next decade, they're going to have to bail out Social Security and print money and do all that fun stuff for Social Security, because the country and the United States and the people will not let that die. I mean, if they can bail out big companies, they can bail out cities, they can bail out states, they can bail out airlines, they're for sure going to bail out Social Security. If they don't, we will have a national riot on our hands like you guys have never seen. So we will see what happens with that. We are getting new news and new details about the next stimulus package. Even today, we're starting to get some new details, including how much the check could be for that hasn't been fully released just yet. But I have new news on that for you guys here. And I have some new news for you guys about unemployment extensions that are real possibilities. So we don't quite have 100% official news on how much the check will be for. We do have 100% official news that we will get a check, but Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said that the next stimulus check will be for $1,200, just like the first one was. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin asked how the direct payments will be structured in the soon-to-release GOP bill. And by the way, the GOP stands for basically the Republicans. It's short for Grand Old Party. So GOP basically means Republicans. They said that it would be exactly the same language as in the first stimulus bill that was passed in late March. We're talking about the same provision as last time. So our proposal is exactly the same proposal as the last time, aka meaning $1,200. The interesting part about that is if they use exactly the same language and exactly the same proposal regarding the stimulus check portion of the bill, then that would mean that it would be $75,000 income limit up to $99,000, just like it was last time. So you would get the full check per person, $1,200 up to $75,000. And if it goes to $99,000, you would get a reduced check if you make between $75,000 and $99,000 based on last year's tax returns. Again, we don't have official news on this yet, but if they use the same wording, there would probably be checks for dependents, just like there was in the first stimulus check at $500 per dependent. So what that would most likely mean is if you have a husband and a wife, that's $2,400, and 2 children would be another $1,000. So a total of $3,400 for a family of 4. We are going to have a ton more news on this coming out probably before the week is over. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you've clicked the like button for me so YouTube will show my videos to you guys again, so YouTube knows that you like the videos. I will keep you guys updated. We're going to have a lot more news coming out on all this stuff within the next few days. Also, some of the other details that we have heard that are ironed out already includes $105 billion out of the $1 trillion for schools and colleges. This would include $70 billion for kindergarten through grade 12 schools and $30 billion for colleges, and $5 billion for governors to give to either schools or colleges. And get this, the bill will tie half of the money going to kindergarten through grade 12 schools. It will tie it to them reopening for in-person classes. So what that means is that, and President Trump has been pushing for this a lot, is that if they don't reopen, they're not going to get half of the money, which is $35 billion. While all schools will have access to the other half, and the $30 billion for colleges will not be tied to in-person classes. Now, the problem with this is that a lot of people are very scared to send their children to school, in-person school right now, that have, 30 people in a classroom, hundreds of people in the school, walking the halls. There's just no way to social distance in that. We have a 2-year-old son, as you probably know, and if we had to send him to school right now, I would be very, very scared. And then we have congressmen and officials who are saying one thing and doing another. U.S. Senator Rick Scott, who used to also be the governor of Florida, wants schools open, but says his grandchildren won't be going to school and they'll be distance learning this fall. So man, the hypocrisy with some of these people is so crazy. They say we're going to open schools, we have to open schools, but then they don't send their own kids or grandkids to school. It's crazy. Okay, in new unemployment news, unemployment extension news, we have 3 new pieces of news about that, which is interesting because we had heard that in the next stimulus bill, there's nothing about extending unemployment. Also, I want to clarify one thing that we have heard a little bit about, and that is that the next stimulus package might not be just one bill. It might actually be sectioned out into a couple different bills, in my opinion, which would be a really good thing. For example, they have one bill on just the stimulus check to Americans. They can just pass that and be done with it. Then they can have another bill on extending unemployment, how much they want to extend it for, how long they want to extend it for, pass that. Then they can have another bill for funding for schools and for funding for cities. So technically they don't need to put all this in one bill, and it would probably be a much better idea to not include this all in one massive bill, because then people can vote on the issues separately and things don't get bundled into the bill and billions of dollars get spent on stuff that's not really important right now. Okay, so the first new discussions that we're hearing about extending unemployment is Senate Republicans are discussing extending unemployment on a short-term basis, so passing a temporary bill that would maybe extend the unemployment benefits for another month or two. The Republicans are also considering extending unemployment at a $400 per month bonus. So you would get your state unemployment benefits and $100 per week or $400 per month. That's significantly lower than the $600 per week or the $2,400 per month that people are getting right now. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, told CNBC that they're looking to extend the unemployment bonus and have it capped at 70% of what you used to make at your previous job. So that would be your state and the federal government bonus would be capped at a 70% mark of what you made at your previous job. All 3 of these are up for negotiations. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Steve Mnuchin has been one of the most accurate people. He's the Treasury Secretary. He's somewhat in control of the money there at the Treasury, and he works with the president and the senators on almost a daily basis, and he seems a pretty down-to-earth guy. You know, he's not like Larry Kudlow. That guy is off the hook that we said in our previous video. But Steve Mnuchin has been pretty accurate through this whole process. So I think the plan that he mentioned of having this federal unemployment bonus extended but capped at 70% is the highest likelihood of getting the unemployment extended going forward. Also, briefly in virus news, we're still over 60-some thousand cases every day. We had 68,000 new cases just yesterday, and we had up to 75,000 new cases last week. This is every single day. We're now over 4% confirmed to have had the virus in the US, and over 145,000 people who didn't make it. That's about 4% of all cases. So 4% of people who get the virus. And we've just had our second consecutive day of over 1,000 people not making it from the virus. And this is near an all-time high. And we've now had 2 of these days in a row. The longer the virus continues and we see more state closures, the higher the likelihood of more stimulus packages, even a third stimulus check, or even more unemployment benefits being passed possibly into next year. The longer this goes on, the longer that stuff will have to continue. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you've hit the like button for me. We're going to have a ton of new news coming out on this stimulus bill, how much it's actually going to be. Then they're going to vote on it here, possibly as early as next week. So I will keep you guys updated with all this information as soon as it comes out. And this top video is my most recent stimulus video. You can watch that next. And this bottom video is about a potential $5,000 advance for stimulus. And over here is a video that teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling one product on Amazon. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.